Welcome to this lesson. Today we are going to talk about memory and how you can improve it. Many people think memory is something magical or very difficult to understand, but in reality, it works in a simple and logical way. If you want to remember more and forget less, you first need to understand how memory works. When you know the basic principles, you can start using the right methods and see real results. In this lesson, you will learn simple ideas that can help you train your brain and make your memory stronger. There are two main types of memory: short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a small space in your brain where information stays for a very short time. For example, when you hear a phone number and repeat it for a few seconds, you are using short-term memory. But if you do nothing with this information, it quickly disappears. Long-term memory is different. It is like a storage where information can stay for a very long time, sometimes forever. Things like your name, your language, or important life events are stored in long-term memory. But information does not go there automatically. Your brain needs a reason to save it. You can imagine your brain as the library. Every new piece of information is like a book. If you just throw the book somewhere and never organize it, you will not find it later. The same thing happens in your brain. If you do not repeat, connect, or use the information, your brain does not know where to put it. So it gets lost. Many people think they have a bad memory. They say, "I'm not smart," or "I always forget things." But this is not true. The real problem is not your brain. The real problem is how you use it. If you only read or hear something once, your brain will not save it. To move information from short-term memory to long-term memory, you need to repeat it, think about it, and connect it to something you already know. This process helps your brain understand that the information is important. So the main idea is simple. You do not forget because you are stupid. You forget because you do not use the right method to remember. When you learn how memory works, you can take control and start remembering much more. Many people believe they forget things because they have a bad memory. But in most cases, the real problem is not memory. The real problem is attention. If you do not focus on something, your brain will not remember it. The first reason we forget is lack of attention. When you hear information but do not really listen, your brain does not save it. For example, you meet a new person. They say their name, but at the same time you are thinking about something else. Later you cannot remember the name. This happens because you did not give full attention. Your eyes saw, your ears heard, but your mind was not present. The second reason is information overload. Every day, your brain receives too much information. Messages, videos, social media, news, conversations. Your brain cannot keep everything. It must choose what is important and what is not. If your mind is full of random and useless content, important information gets lost. It is like trying to put new books into a library that is already full and messy. The third reason is no repetition. Even if you understand something, it does not mean you will remember it. If you do not repeat information, your brain thinks it is not important. For example, you learn a new English word today, but you never use it again. After a few days, it disappears from your memory. Repetition tells your brain, "This matters. Keep it." So, what is the key idea? Without focus, there is no memory. Attention is the first step. If you want to remember something, you need to stop, look, listen, and think about it. Even a few seconds of real focus can make a big difference. When you control your attention, reduce unnecessary information, and repeat what you learn, your memory becomes much stronger. Step 1 is about attention, and it is the most important part of memory. If you do not focus, your brain will not save the information. Many people think they study, but in reality, their mind is somewhere else. They look at the text, but they do not really see it. They hear words, but they do not truly listen. When you learn something new, stop for a moment. Give it your full attention. Look at the word or idea. Listen carefully if someone is speaking. Say it in your head or even out loud. These small actions tell your brain, "This is important." Even 5 seconds of real focus can make a big difference. It is not about studying longer, it is about studying with attention. If your phone is near you, or you're thinking about other things, your focus becomes weak. Try to be present. Remove distractions. Give your brain a clear signal. When your attention is strong, your memory becomes strong too. Step 2 is about turning words into images. Your brain does not like dry text. It works much better with pictures. When you hear or read a word, try to create a clear image in your mind. This helps your brain understand and remember faster. For example, if you learn the word apple, do not just repeat the word. Imagine a big red apple. Make it shiny, maybe very large, or even funny. You can imagine it falling from the sky or dancing. The more unusual the image is, the easier it is to remember. This method works for many words. If you learn car, see a fast car on the road. If you learn cold, imagine snow and ice around you. Try to add color, movement, and emotion. When you use images, learning becomes easier and more interesting. Your brain saves pictures much better than simple words. Step 3 is about using stories. Your brain naturally remembers stories better than separate facts. When information is connected, it becomes easier to keep in your memory. If you have a list of words or ideas, do not try to remember them one by one. Instead, create a simple story that includes all of them. For example, if you need to remember dog, book, coffee, you can imagine a dog reading a book while drinking coffee. It may sound strange, but that is exactly why it works. Stories help your brain build connections. One idea leads to another, and this creates a chain in your memory. When you remember the story, you also remember all the parts inside it. Do not be afraid to make your story funny, weird, or emotional. The more unusual it is, the stronger your memory will be. Stories turn boring information into something alive and easy to remember. Step 4 is about repeating information over time. Learning something once is not enough if you want to remember it for a long time. Your brain needs to see the same information again and again, but with pauses between each review. This method is called spaced repetition. It means you repeat what you learn after some time, not immediately many times in a row. For example, you can review new information after 1 hour, then the next day, then after a few days, and later after a week. Each time you repeat, your brain understands that this information is important. It moves it from short-term memory to long-term memory. Without repetition, your brain quickly forgets what you learned. Spaced repetition is simple but very powerful. It helps you remember more with less effort. Even a few short reviews can make a big difference if you do them regularly. Step 5 is about using emotions. Emotions make your memory much stronger. When you feel something, your brain pays more attention and saves the information deeper. Think about your life. You may forget what you ate last week, but you remember special moments very clearly. Why? Because they had strong feelings. The same rule works in learning. When you learn something new, try to connect it with emotion. For example, if you learn a new word, think about a real situation in your life. If the word is happy, remember a moment when you felt true happiness. If the word is fear, think about a time when you were scared. You can also create emotion even if the topic is boring. Make it funny, dramatic, or surprising. The stronger the feeling, the better the result. When your brain feels emotion, it says, "This is important, keep it." And that is why you remember it much longer. Step 6 is about teaching others. This is one of the most powerful ways to remember anything. When you teach, you do not just repeat information. You understand it on a deeper level. When you explain something, your brain must organize the idea. You need to choose simple words and make the idea clear. This process helps you see what you really know and what you still do not understand. You do not need to be a real teacher. You can explain the idea to a friend, talk to yourself, or even imagine that you are teaching someone. You can also write a short explanation in your notebook. For example, if you learn a new English word, try to explain its meaning and use it in a sentence. When you do this, the word becomes part of your thinking. Teaching is like learning twice. First, you learn the idea. Then, when you teach it, you learn it again, but deeper and stronger. Step 7 is about using a mind palace. This is a special method that helps you remember information by connecting it with places you already know. Your brain is very good at remembering locations like your home, your school, or your favorite cafe. To use this method, imagine a place you know well, for example, your house. Picture every room in your mind: the door, the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom. Now take the information you want to remember and place one idea in each room. For example, if you need to remember a list, imagine one item in the kitchen, another in the bedroom, and so on. Make the images bright, funny, or unusual. When you want to remember, walk through your house in your imagination. As you move from room to room, the information comes back to you. This method works because your brain connects memory with space. It makes learning easier and more organized. Step 8 is about reviewing before sleep. This is a very simple habit, but it can give strong results. Before you go to bed, take a few minutes to look again at what you learned during the day. At night, your brain does important work. It organizes information, decides what to keep, and moves useful knowledge into long-term memory. If you review something before sleep, you give your brain a clear signal. This is important. For example, you can repeat new words, read your notes, or say key ideas out loud. You do not need much time. Even 5 minutes is enough if you stay focused. Try to avoid your phone before sleep. Too much new information can confuse your brain. Instead, stay calm and review only what matters. This habit helps you remember more without extra effort. When you wake up, you will often feel that the information is clearer and easier to recall. Step 9 is about writing by hand. Writing is a powerful way to improve memory. When you write, your brain does not rush. It works slower, but in a deeper and more focused way. When you only read or listen, your brain can stay passive. It may understand, but it often forgets quickly. But when you write, you must think about every word. You organize your ideas and make them clear. This helps you understand better and remember longer. Try to write new words, short sentences, or important ideas in a notebook. For example, if you learn a new English word, write its meaning and use it in a sentence. You can also add a personal example. Writing by hand is stronger than typing because your brain is more involved in the process. It creates a deeper connection with the information. Think of writing as pressing the save button in your brain. When you write, the information becomes more stable and easier to remember later. Step 10 is about using active recall. Active recall means you test your memory instead of just reading again. Many people read the same text many times and think they know it. But real learning happens when you try to remember without help. After you read something, close the book or app, then ask yourself questions. What did I just learn? Can I explain it in simple words? Can I give an example? Try to answer without looking. At first, this may feel difficult. You may forget parts or feel unsure. That is normal. This effort is exactly what makes your memory stronger. Your brain works harder, and this helps it keep the information longer. You can also use flashcards or write questions in your notebook. Look at the question and try to recall the answer. Active recall is like training a muscle. The more you use your memory, the stronger it becomes. Step 11 is about practicing regularly. Memory is like a muscle. If you use it often, it becomes stronger. If you stop training, it becomes weak. You cannot improve your memory in one day. It needs time and consistency. Many people try to study for many hours one day and then do nothing for the rest of the week. This does not work well. Your brain learns better with small, regular practice. Even 10 to 15 minutes every day can give great results. Try to use memory methods daily. Repeat new words. Review your notes, or test yourself with simple questions. Make it part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. Regular practice helps your brain stay active. It also makes learning easier over time. You will notice that you remember faster and forget less. The key idea is simple. Do a little every day. Small steps, done often, create strong and lasting memory. Step 12 is about protecting your brain from overload. Today, we receive too much information every day. Messages, videos, social media, and news fill our mind with noise. When your brain is full of this noise, it becomes hard to remember important things. Your brain needs space to work well. If you keep adding more and more information, it cannot organize it. Important ideas get lost between useless ones. That is why you may feel tired and forget at simple things. To fix this, try to limit distractions. Spend less time on social media and avoid watching too many random videos. Choose what you really need to learn and focus on it. Also, give your brain quiet time. Sit without your phone. Think, or just relax. This helps your mind recover and become clear again. When your brain is calm and not overloaded, it works much better. You can focus, understand, and remember more easily.